Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. My name's Chad. Take a dive with sports. And this one's kind of, a little bit behind schedule on this one because I'm working on other details for other videos. And so some recent changes that have occurred in the FCS level of the college football ranks and pretty much Division I football as a whole. As more schools are starting to move around and new alliances has been formed. So go ahead and just dive in, give you all those juicy details. But before I get into all of that, if you could just smash that thumbs up for me, especially like the content provides you, really pleases the YouTube gods, helps promote this channel out. While you're there, you can also subscribe. Love you guys review my work, and I love you all for doing it. I mean, if you subscribe, it's cost you a dime. It helps me provide more entertainment value for you. And I'm going to go ahead and just start right off with the collapse, basically, of Big South football. As we all know, Hampton and Monmouth were our two members of the Big South Football Conference, both just left for Colonial. And just recently, North Carolina A&T has followed their HBU brother, former MEAC program, and joined Hampton in the Colonial to make the Colonial a 14-member football conference. This now takes Big South football even further south below the 6-member threshold and leaves their football status in question. Now, in a previous video, I did mention that with the Big South going below the 6, that the other 5 members should join the ASUN and help that conference get bigger, especially since they're losing Jacksonville State. They'll take them down and then give them both conferences as a 10-member conference under the ASUN umbrella. Pretty much the what happened with the A10, how they kind of no longer support football, and then Colonial decided to pick up the baton and run with it to now look where they're at. However, there has been a different direction with those former the Big South football schools. And as of now, the Big South and the Ohio Valley have agreed to merge their football conference into one conference. But all the other sports will retain their original conferences. Now, they haven't especially ironed out if it's going to go under the Ohio Valley moniker or the Big South moniker, or they're going to create a brand new conference. For me, do what the Missouri Valley did. Create the Ohio Valley Football Conference. Now, while you're covered, it's a separate entity that could be run by the Ohio Valley and a Big South member, kind of like a dual thing. In that way, they have their own set of rules that helps them out, and then the rest of their sports kind of do their own thing. Pretty much what the Missouri Valley Conference is with the Missouri Valley schools, along with the Summit League and Horizon League. All right, speaking of Ohio Valley, we all seen the exodus of schools leaving this conference, going either the ASUN or Missouri Valley. Then they're starting to add, and now they bring in members. They're bringing in Little Rock for the Sun Belt, so bringing in another basketball member, kind of going a little south. And then they're bringing up 2 Division II programs from the Great Lake Valley Conference with Southern Indiana, who has been targeted by quite a few conferences because of their basketball prowess and their the D2 tournament. So it gives them a little more on the hard court. And then Lindenwood out there in St. Charles, Missouri, has also accepted a bid, and it's also a football member. So you have, the 6, now make 6 remaining Ohio Valley members. You can bring in the 4 members from Big South football, because you have the 3 core members, and then Robert Morris, which is a associate member, all slide over and gives the Ohio Valley Football Conference 10, decent sized conference. But, another thing you have to kind of look at is Murray State. As of right now, Murray State football is still with Ohio Valley, but the rest of their sports are already with Missouri Valley. Now, they have not mentioned where their football is going to go in 2023. Last year would kind of let you to assume that they will go and join the rest of the Missouri Valley members that play football in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But with their uncertainty and some other things floating around there, it kind of got me looking into what could possibly happen with the ASUN. Remember, once Jacksonville State leaves in 23, they're down to 5 football programs. And that gives them below the threshold to maintain that conference. So there has been, the commercials already said they have schools already reaching out to them. They're not going to say who, so it's up to us to kind of speculate. Number one on that list for me would be Murray State. Because of the rivalries with Austin Peay and Eastern Kentucky that they developed while they're in the Ohio Valley. And I find it, and this is what they want. I've dived into a lot of the Missouri State going into this, and a lot of them want to maintain those rivalries, retain that nostalgia, and look at possibly keeping, battling Kennesaw State, and I really enjoy the aspect that those fans really want to see those nostalgia games still take place, and it really, which doesn't really happen. With all these conference moves that happens. Because you got Backyard Brawl. When's the last time you saw that one happen between Pitt and West Virginia? So I like to see that, that one could be a good aspect, but I think Murray State going to Missouri Valley Football Conference makes more sense just to maintain the evenness of that conference and really helps them out overall. So then some other schools that kind of populated my purview per se is, of course, getting Robert Morris to leave the ASUN Associates and then not join this new venture with the Ohio Valley. He also join in. But I think for Robert Morris, them going to the Ohio Valley Football Conference would actually be more beneficial for them. So kind of scratch that one off. Another school that ASUN could possibly look at is Tennessee State. Coach Eddie George has kind of mentioned that they're right now kind of saying that the Ohio Valley is dying because there's been a lot, like I said, a lot of schools have left, and not many has come in to replace them, especially football wise. So they're trying to figure out ways to kind of find out what's best for them. But with Ohio Valley now reaching out and partnering with the Gulf South, I really think Tennessee State will end up staying, and then George probably change his tune, or at least lower the speak of saying the Ohio Valley is dying, and they need to find out what's best for them, because I think them staying there is the best thing. But, it'd be interesting to see Tennessee State and ASUN. I mean, that could really stretch out the footprint. I mean, you still have the rivalries with the Austin Peay and Eastern Kentucky, possibly even North Alabama as well. So that could actually work out for them, but I don't see that happening. And then I looked at Georgetown. Right there, the northeast part of the region for the ASUN. They're the 7th member of the Patriot League. Could be a viable choice. But I don't think I see Georgetown leaving the Patriot League with the what they have in place. And if you look at most of their conferences out there, they all have a even amount, except for the SoCon, which I don't really see anyone leaving that one. There's been some rumors or not rumors, but message boards out there that say Chattanooga. Bring Chattanooga in and create that death triangle with Kennesaw State, North Alabama, and that could be very interesting. But I don't think Chattanooga will leave ETCSU or Western Carolina and what they developed there with all those members was like Sanford, Furman, and Mercer. So I think Chattanooga is going to stay there unless the Sun Belt comes calling. I think that's the only way they're going to leave as they go up to Division One or to the FBS level, should I say. My apologies. And with the Northeast Conference, they're at the 7, but they're too far out for them to really kind of pluck one of those schools to kind of help them out. maybe to get one of the Pioneer Football League schools to kind of, hey, let's offer full scholarships to our players. And then maybe they move up. That'd be Stetson. That's the prime target there because Stetson is an ASUN member. But they don't offer scholarships to the football players. That's why all their football programs are the Pioneer League. And the only way for the ASUN to get up to 6 is they bring, have Stetson say they offer scholarships and bring them up. Or they go to D2 as well. Continue the evasion of the D2 schools. And that's when I really start looking at where to pull it. It was these schools I kind of came up with looked at the region the ASUN's at and see where they want to pluck another school. They already got 4 schools in Florida for basketball, so adding a 5th program probably would not be advantageous for them because it doesn't increase their footprint. So that took West Florida off that list. But going and try to grab another school for Kennesaw State to battle. So that's when I came up with Valdosta State, great powerhouse in D2, and then West Georgia. Both of these are very decent-sized stadiums, I think over 10,000 plus. And great rivalries with Kennesaw State right away, and that really helped them out. For North Alabama, I looked at West Alabama to kind of help them out. And as you know, all 3 of those schools are all coming out of the Gulf Star Conference, or Gulf South, excuse me. So they really can help them out because it's already right there in the region, helps them out. Then looking at Central Missouri could be another one. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but you already have programs in Kentucky, you have programs in Tennessee, programs in Arkansas. So adding Missouri not really that much of a stretch for them. And then a couple other ones that I think are really stretching that footprint out a lot. That could happen, but maybe not. Texas A&M Kingsville, now the Lone Star Conference, right there at that southern coast of Texas area, and could be a possibility, but I think that's too far west for them to go. But that would be more beneficial for Central Arkansas. Give them someone closer, maybe. I think their closer school would be Central Missouri. And then Charleston, West Virginia. There's another one out there at kind of the northeast part, kind of like, to stretch that footprint north. And like I said, that one's a little bit out there, so probably not. But looking at all of these D2 programs, I think Texas A&M Kingsville and Charleston, West Virginia are too far out really for them to kind of go there. Those I think could be possibilities, but I don't think so. That's what kind of look at, Valdosta State, West Georgia, West Alabama, and Central Missouri. All gives them that within that region. Central Missouri is more for Central Arkansas. Kind of give them a little bit, a regional playmate, basically. But those are just my ideas, so we'll kind of see how this one plays out. And with that being said, I think that's the only hurdle right now is what the ASUN's going to do to replace Jacksonville State, and also where Chicago State's going to land, because they still have not announced which conference they're going. My money is they're going to the Horizon League because they just, they'll lose UIC, so why not just replace one Chicago school with another? Once I find any other news, realignment news-wise, I'll make sure I get in front of this camera a little bit quicker and provide you that news information and my little 2 cents upon that. And once again, if you could, just go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me. You can also share this video, especially if you like it. Share with your friends or family. Kind of help promote this channel a lot. You can also subscribe. Once you subscribe, hit that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.